please rise to receive the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa. Yes. May we please rise for the singing of the national anthem. You may be seated. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, good morning. Good morning. It is my greatest honor and privilege to welcome everyone here and on different social media to this special distinguished lecture on the 30 years celebration of South African democracy under the theme, an inspiring message for South African youth and young adults to excite them about their future prospects in South Africa. We are honored to have the Honorable Mr. Paul Mashatile, the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, A man of great honor, courage, humility, but also an indomitable freedom fighter in his own right. To be among us, to deliver the special distinguished lecture today. Today, we gather to celebrate 30 years of democracy in South Africa and to hear from a distinguished leader who has played a key role in shaping the nation's history. The commemoration of 30 years of freedom of democracy is a great opportunity to celebrate the remarkable journey we have traversed to create a vibrant democracy where all South Africans are equal before the law, and as the country continue to work to create equal access to socio-economic opportunities. The commencement of the year-long 30 years Freedom of Democracy celebration was officially launched by government on the 5th of April this year, 2024. It is therefore befitting for the great University of Johannesburg, as Prof. Mpedi would like to have it, to join the nation and reflect on the milestones achieved and the challenges encountered in the journey towards a more inclusive and equitable society. The Deputy President's insight and perspective are sure to inspire us as we reflect on the progress we have made and the challenges that lie ahead. The special distinguished lecture was organized by the School of Public Management, Governance and Public Policy in partnership with the College of Business and Economics at the Great University of Johannesburg. At this point, I would like to call upon Prof. Ben Marks, the Executive Dean of the College of Business and Economics, to make his remarks. But before he comes, Prof, I want to say something about you so the nation can hear it. Prof. Ben Marks obtained his BCom cum laude in 1987. Many of us were still young at the time. His BCom honors in 1988 and his BCom cum laude again in 1993 at the University of the Free State. He completed his doctorate thesis in auditing on the topic of audit committees in 2008 at the Great University of Johannesburg. After completing his articles at the audit firm Deloitte in 1992, he joined the Department of Accountancy at the University of the Free State as a senior lecturer, but he was promoted to associate professor in 1994, in just 2 years. In 1995, he joined the Department of Accountancy at RAU, now the Great University of Johannesburg. He currently holds the position of acting executive dean in the College of Business and Economics here at the University of Johannesburg. Prof. Ben Marks, I can go on for the whole day, but for the sake of time, please welcome to the podium. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Program Director, His Excellency, the Deputy President, honored guests, our Vice-Chancellor, Prof. Mpedi, will welcome all of you this morning, so I'm just going to say all protocols observed at this point. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our Vice-Chancellor, But before I do that, good morning, Sani Bonani, Dumalang, goeiemorgen. It's an honor to welcome you to the great University of Johannesburg. We are grateful for your presence of so many guests, and if I may be so blunt to say it, to call you all our friends at UJ, at this prestigious, distinguished special lecture presented by the Honourable Deputy President of the great Republic of South Africa, Mr. Paul Masatile. South Africa held its first post-apartheid free elections in 1994 and introduced a new constitution. This year we are celebrating 30 years of freedom and democracy in our beloved country, South Africa. Similarly, the CBE is a dynamic and vibrant college, offering real-world, impactful and quality programs with brilliant, hard-working, dedicated and agile students and phenomenal staff and lecturers that is committed to our student success and making a societal impact. At UJ, we are blessed with visionary and directional leadership that steers this brilliant institution of ours to excellence and making a societal impact. And I'm honored to introduce to you our Vice-Chancellor, Prof. Letokwa Mpedi, of the great University of Johannesburg. Prof. Mpedi is a visionary leader. He stepped into this role on the 21st of March 2023. He's a higher education leader, law professor, labor law specialist, and social security specialist and researcher. Prof. Mpedi advocates societal impact projects and programs through 4R and new technologies. And as I always say, Prof. Mpedi leads from the front. He tells us what to do, but he sets for us the example at this great University of Johannesburg. I'm going to read to you the short version of Prof. Mpedi's curriculum vitae. The long version is about a bookful, but I'm just going to stick with this one. Letokwa George Mpedi completed his B. Juris in 1996 and LLB in 1998 at Vista University. In 2011, the LLM degree in Labour Law was conferred upon him by the then Rand Afrikaans University, now the University of Johannesburg. He twice received, and this is big words, the Ducer Academicer Austudendius, Prof, you must help me with those pronunciations, Austudendius DAAD Award in 2000 and 2001 for purposes of researching in Germany for his LLM dissertation, LLD thesis. Upon completion of his LLB, he was employed as a junior lecturer in the Department of Mercantile Law at Vista University, Mamelodi campus. He joined the Center for International and Comparative Labour and Social Security Law and the then Rand Afrikaans University as a researcher in 2000. In August 2003, Professor Mpedi accepted the position as a research fellow at the Max Planck Institute for Foreign and International Social Law in Munich, Germany. Upon his return from Germany in 2006, he was appointed as Deputy Director at CICLAAS at UJ. In the same year, the LLD degree in Mercantile Law was conferred upon him by the University of Johannesburg. Before his current position as Vice-Chancellor and Principal, Professor Mpedi served as Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Academic and Executive Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Johannesburg. He lectured Labour Law and Social Security LLB, postgraduate and certificate students, and has delivered papers at numerous national and international conferences. Professor Mpedi has published widely on social security and labour law in South Africa, Southern Africa, and Anglophone Africa. His most recent publications include a co-authored book, Labour Law in Ghana, 2022, published by LexisNexis, South Africa. Professor Mpedi is an NRF-rated scholar. He's placed in the B category as a researcher who enjoys considerable international recognition and peers. And I can go on for long, but Prof, it's an honor introducing you, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you very much, Professor Ben Marks. Ladies and gentlemen, Acting Executive Dean of the College of Business and Economics at the great University of Johannesburg. His Excellency, Deputy President of the Great Republic of South Africa, Mr. Paul Mashatile, the Premier of the great province of Gauteng, Re Tanyasa Lesufi, members of the diplomatic corps present here today, senior government officials, members of the Planning Commission. I wanted to abbreviate it here, the Great University of Johannesburg, we say MEC, but I thought, Premier, you will get confused. So here at UJ MEC, we refer to members of the executive committee of the university. And we also have the executive leadership group of the University of Johannesburg. Let me also acknowledge our acting executive dean, Professor Ben Marks. I saw the president of the convocation of the great University of Johannesburg, Mr. Leslie Mpunze. I thought I saw you. Is that you, sir? Of course. You see, I know you. I can see you even in the dark. Welcome. Members of UJ staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Goeiemorgen, sanibonani. What else did I leave out? Dumelang. It's really a wonderful privilege to greet you this morning. When colleagues, Professor Dominique talked about the great University of Johannesburg, I had people say, when Marx talked about the great University of Johannesburg, I had, I'll say it again, great university, the great University of Johannesburg, because it's the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, I was reflecting earlier about, UJ, and I was like, damn, 30 years of democracy in South Africa. UJ, if it was a human being, it would be a tinswalo, you know. Seriously. I mean, the UJ story is the best story in terms of institutions of higher learning South Africa can tell. As many of you will know, UJ was put together, as part of this democratic, Republic of South Africa project. And this is the most successful story of that project. I can say that without blinking. Not that because I'm citizen number one. Go and look at all our achievements, and you will see that what we are saying is the honest truth. And this is not about selling UJ. And please don't miss an opportunity to say amen if this was the church, If you feel like clapping for the great work that this university has done to date as part of this democratic Republic of South Africa, please join me in really applauding the great work that has been done. You tell them, ladies and gentlemen, UJ is a tinswalo of institutions of higher learning because of what we have achieved, as part of this, period as a democratic Republic of South Africa. As we're singing the national anthem, I was singing it, at the top of my voice. I thought this mic was on, but it doesn't seem like it was, because I wanted people to know I know every word and I can sing every word. Deputy President, when we started, with the new national anthem, people say, now you see everyone, they sing every word. We come a long way as a country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege. You see, I like the word great. It's my great privilege to welcome you all to the great University of Johannesburg this morning. Our narrative, ladies and gentlemen, as an institution is inextricably linked with the youth of our country. Next year we'll be celebrating 20 years of our existence. Please mark this page. So we're going to celebrate from the 1st of January to the 31st of December midnight, because there's so much to celebrate. Earlier on, I was debating with Prof. Jahed whether I'm still youth or not. And I was like, no, they say youth is up to 35. I'm like, no, I'm still youth. I'm almost 50. And then we settle it by saying youth is what you feel, 50, Prof. Dominic said 50 is the new 35. We are a young university, but say UJ really at 20 next year is definitely a youth. And we are enjoying our youth, ladies and gentlemen. We are proud, of the work that we are doing, the great work that we have done. Within these walls, ladies and gentlemen, the dreams and aspirations of countless young South Africans take root and flourish. Here at the great University of Johannesburg, we say access and excellence for success are not mutually exclusive. Majority of our students are first generation to come to university. We work with them, we mold them, and then we send them out there to go out there and make a difference. We do transform professions. Acting Dean, you are quick to remind me, we had the results from SAICA a few days ago. People are celebrating we are number one in the country. Number one, we got 100%, 100% of 84. I'm not jealous, It's better than what? 187? Where we take everybody who wants to be an accountant. We say, come to UJ. Others will tell you, no, you are a risk that we may drop from being number one. We say, bring them all. We'll support them. And then we give them that chance. There's no university in South Africa that contributes to the accountancy professors like UJ in terms of bringing women and the underrepresented people, including blacks. And we are proud of that, and we do it deliberately. So when we talk about greatness, we don't joke, ladies and gentlemen. But this is not talking about greatness. Here at UJ, we say our commitment is basically about nurturing talent. The forgotten people from villages that people will say you will not amount to anything. We say, come to UJ, we'll work with you and make you great. We foster innovation, ladies and gentlemen. We are a university of the fourth industrial revolution. And we empower the next generation of leaders. And this is something that we are not going to apologize about. We are honored this morning to host our Deputy President, Mr. Paul Mashatile, to deliver a distinguished special public lecture on the 30-year celebration of South Africa's democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, a year ago, our Deputy President, the Honorable Mashatile, stood at the podium on Youth Day and declared, and I quote you, Deputy President, you said, "We stand on the shoulders of giants," close quote. This year, I say to you, it's a seminal in our country's history. It represents our 30th year of democracy, ladies and gentlemen. I was reflecting, I was like, where was I at 30? I just got my LLD, Anyway, single and sexy. Ladies and gentlemen, for a country with a difficult and fragmented past, this is significant. People didn't give us a chance. They said we are going to kill each other. 30 years we are still standing. The transition from apartheid to democracy brought about a system of inclusive governance and civil liberties. The community of democracies argued that, and I quote, "increasing young people's civic engagement and political participation is crucial to build inclusive societies and strong democratic institutions," close quote. Ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare ourselves for the upcoming elections, it is important to remember the strength the youth hold and the role that they play. By youth, I include myself, Their right for democracy, their fight for democracy is instrumental in our country's history. Prior to 1994, ladies and gentlemen, the youth was instrumental in sustaining the anti-apartheid struggle, both within South Africa and on the international stage. Their courage, determination, and resilience helped to bring about the eventful downfall of apartheid, and so the establishment of a democratic South Africa. To refer back to the community of democracies, and I quote, "We must embrace the youth as responsible citizens and prepare them to lead their societies in accordance with universal human rights values," close quote. Ladies and gentlemen, betwixt and between remembering our past and looking towards a brighter future, platforms such as these are vital, not only inspiring our youth, but galvanizing them towards action in the democratic process. Deputy President Mashatile is well poised to lead this conversation. His trajectory from youth activist to prominent ANC leader highlights the pivotal role of youth participation in South Africa's political evolution. I don't know if you are still youth, Deputy President, but you can speak for yourself. I'll take it, say we are all youth, And I'll include the Premier in it. Forever young. Beginning his activism during his youth, his journey reflects the determination of young South Africans to challenge apartheid injustices. His rise within the ANC leadership illustrates how youthful activism can translate into influential roles within the liberation movement and post-apartheid governance. Throughout his career, ladies and gentlemen, he has advocated for the inclusion of young people in decision-making process and has championed causes relevant to the youth, such as education and employment. His story serves as an inspiration, showcasing the potential for young activists to shape the future of their nation through dedication, resilience, and leadership within the political arena. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm reminded of his words in 2020, and I quote, where he said, "At this critical moment, the young men and women of our movement and country are those with moral stamina and integrity, young people of courage and vision," close quote. This rings true once again as we enter an election year, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not campaigning. It is an election year. I look forward to Deputy President Mashatile's insight into the last 30 years and the important role you all play in our democratic narrative. As I welcome him to deliver this important lecture, I lean into his own words and I quote, "The goal is to make sure that young people see a chance that didn't exist before and now that they can do more than they thought they could," close quote. May this be a clarion call for us all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Now I would like to take this opportunity and formally introduce our Deputy President. He also has a lengthy CV that could make a book, Professor Dominic, and I was told that I must give an abbreviated version because he's a humble man. But I said, no, I'm going to stretch it as far as I can go, taking into account the time that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, our Deputy President is a well-known man, a man who needs no introduction, but even men who do not need an introduction must be introduced. And I'm going to introduce him this morning. His Excellency Deputy President Mashatile was born in Pretoria. Those who don't know, it is in the Gauteng province. During his early political activism, Mr. Mashatile has held various leadership positions, including joining the Congress of South African Students while studying at Alexander High School. Together with other young people in Alexander, they established the Alexander Youth Congress, where he later became its first president. He went on to be elected as the General Secretary of the United Democratic Front from 1989 until the unbanning of political parties in 1990, when the UDF was dissolved. Owing to his political activism, he was detained under the state of emergency regulations declared by the then state president, P.W. Botha, and spent more than 4 years in prison without trial. While in prison, he pursued academic studies. I say to our students, you have everything here. You have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, you have it all. People did well studying in prison. You are here. Come on, guys. And I want to repeat it today, honestly, People complain about, silly things, and I'm going to remind them, In 1992, he was appointed as Provincial Secretary of the South African Communist Party in Gauteng, a position he held from 1992 to 2010. He was also head of political education of the ANC Pretoria Witwatersrand Vereeniging region. In addition, the Deputy President has also risen through the ranks of the African National Congress. He was elected the chairperson of the Gauteng province in 1992 and also elected as the Provincial Secretary of the ANC, a position he held for 6 years. And in 1998, he was the Deputy Chairperson of the ANC in Gauteng. Deputy President Mashatile has vast experience in governance, where he held a number of positions in government, including leader of the House Gauteng legislature from 1994 to 1996. There are a number of those positions up to now, ladies and gentlemen, as the Deputy President of the Republic. In 2017, he was elected as Treasurer General of the party at its 54th National Conference during his tenure as the Treasurer General. He also acted as the Secretary General and Deputy Secretary General of the ANC. As we all know, he was sworn in as Deputy President of the Great Republic of South Africa on the 7th of March 2023, following his appointment to this role by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on the whole morning. Deputy President Paul Mashatile also chairs the following candidate committees. It's important to note: governance, state capacity and institutional development, justice, crime prevention, and security. And this is extremely important. I have to say it because I know as a married man, my wife always reminds me, you tell your people at UJ that they tell others you are married and to me. So the deputy president is a married man, and he's married to Me Humile Bohatsu, and deputy president has 6 children, Palisa, Tinyiko, Tabiso, Ayanda, Zodwa, and Hoya Bill. And I want to declare, if those cameras are for the media, I'm going to gift the deputy president. I haven't done that. I'm going to gift him my book, my latest book, From the Baobab to the Mosquito, Rethinking Leadership Through African Sayings. The book, the royalties for the book go into a bursary fund for students studying at the Faculty of Education, studying neurodiversity. I want the journalists to also say that now the president, the deputy president is in the pocket of UJ, because I gave that book and then they said that the Gauteng judiciary is corrupt. I gave gifts. Where are we going to hide? Anyway, it's not about me. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give the Deputy President of the Great Republic of South Africa a warm University of Johannesburg welcome to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm told I must use this one. I don't know why. But I shall comply. Program Director, Professor Dominic Oweziamana, who's the Acting Director of School of Public Management, Governance and Public Policy, College of Business and Economics. Professor Ben Marks, Acting Executive Dean, College of Business and Economics. Professor Mpedi, the Great University of Johannesburg Vice Chancellor and Principal, as well as the university's senior leadership. My Premier, Banyaza Lusufi of the Great Province of Gauteng, and your Executive Committee here present, the leadership of the trade unions who are here, leadership of students, organizations, and representatives of the SRCs, leadership of various political parties who have joined us today, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure and honor to have the opportunity to join you as a speaker in the series of public lectures that the Great University of Johannesburg is hosting. Public lectures have an important role to play in public discourse, as they provide an opportunity for the public to engage with leaders in academia, governance, business, and many other sectors. Notably, The lecture is being held during Freedom Month, a time when South Africa celebrates 30 years of democracy. This remarkable milestone was attained by the unwavering determination of the people of our nation. The reality is that for us to attain and enjoy this democracy, countless South Africans have paid the ultimate price. Many of the freedom fighters who gave their lives for a non-racial South Africa did not live to witness its realization. The month of April also evokes memories of the iconic Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu, a young activist who was unjustly executed by the evil apartheid regime on the 6th of April, 1979. His death was and remains a symbol of the injustice and cruelty of the apartheid regime, which could arbitrarily execute innocent individuals. We will never forget, nor will we undermine the potency of his last words when he said to his mother before he went on the 52 steps to the gallows, and I quote, "Tell my people that I love them and that they must continue to fight. My blood will nourish the tree that will bear the fruits of freedom." Close quote. Program Director, these words have carried us as a nation on the path of social justice and equality. They have transcended decades and still echo through the current hopes and aspirations for a better South Africa. In thinking about the theme of this lecture, which is inspiring the youth in South Africa to imagine a better and prosperous future, I cannot help but remember the role of young people, or rather the role that young people played during the 1976 uprising. Young people in South Africa have always been at the forefront of struggle, playing key roles in the African National Congress, the United Democratic Front, in Umkhonto weSizwe, in various youth congresses in the country, students' organizations, and many other formations, including street committees, that served as platforms for change and social justice in our country. Equally, in April, we remember Chris Hani, a commander of Umkhonto weSizwe, who was gunned down on the eve of the elections on the 10th of April, 1993. His death sent shocking wave and almost jeopardized our transition at the time. However, under the leadership of President Nelson Mandela, the ANC prevailed and brought calm to our nation at the most critical time. This underscores the significance of leadership, as difficult times test leaders and define them by their ability to make the right decisions. As we commemorate 30 years of freedom and democracy, we must emulate our predecessors by steadfastly pursuing and safeguarding the achievement of our freedom and democracy. We must act and act decisively. For this reason, we must invest in building a nation that has the necessary capacity and skills to contribute to our developmental paradigm. In this regard, working through the Human Resource Development Council, the Human Resource Development Council is a committee that the President appointed me to chair in government. And this committee works together with the private sector, with universities, with civil society, including trade unions, and of course, other arms of government. Program Director, we have recently cemented various compacts that are aimed at ensuring that as partners, we deal with our agreed program of development. The importance of investing in knowledge is also because we find ourselves in a modern, developing knowledge economy, driven, amongst others, by artificial intelligence. Professor Mpedi, your institution has been one of the leading institutions in artificial intelligence. I commend you for investing in this important development, and I believe the rest of us should follow suit. We too have decided that we must teach robotics, coding at an early childhood development stage so that the children are ready for the future. But more importantly, they must be globally competitive, particularly in this era of the digital economy. I equally want to acknowledge the good work that the Premier of Gauteng, the great Gauteng province, and his executive are doing to create much needed opportunities for the youth. As they say, CP is pani. And overwhelmingly, the youth of Gauteng responds to say, Nasi is pani. This and many similar initiatives in KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, in the Northwest, they've got what they call Tunsalerule. And there are many such initiatives that our government, particularly provincial governments, are embarking on. And we are willing to go an extra mile through these initiatives to build a better life for all our people. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few decades, the South African government has taken significant steps to address historical injustices and strive towards achieving social cohesion and socio-economic empowerment for all its citizens. Equally, the government has made significant progress in addressing socio-economic inequalities through social welfare programs in housing, healthcare, education, and social services. The implementation of the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment, BBEE policies, has also promoted economic transformation because our goal is to ensure that those who were marginalized become part of the mainstream economy. To determine our commitment to building an inclusive and growing economy, we have raised so far 1.5 trillion rands in new investment commitments, of which over 500 billion rand has already flowed into the economy. We have made further strides in addressing load shedding, ensuring security, enhancing logistics systems, and improving ports and rail networks. And I would like to assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a national plan, or rather plans are in place nationally to ensure that load shedding is ended this year. I know you don't believe me. Professor Mpedi, they think I'm electioneering. No, it is true. That's why I'm not saying it will end before elections. I'm saying this year. The Minister of Electricity has been working very hard. Some of you might have heard him saying he's working himself out of a job because he's going to end load shedding. So I said to him, no, you are not working yourself out of a job, because once you have ended load shedding, you must plan for another 10 years. You must invest in new generation, make sure ESCOM build new power stations, ensure that renewables are implemented, solar, wind, making sure that we can also use gas to power. So there are various initiatives that must come into the mainstream. And I said to him, your job is not ending when you end load shedding this year. Program Director, we are on track to accelerate land redistribution so that Black South Africans must also have access to land, including farmland. As we speak now, Black South Africans now own around 25% of farmland and have supported about 1,000 black industrialists in black-owned firms. Despite these achievements, challenges remain in achieving a more inclusive and equitable society. For example, the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, as well as corruption in various government entities, parastatals, and even the private sector, continue to pose obstacles to the nation's progress. In addressing these challenges, we are conscious that as government we must strengthen social compacts by working together with all sectors in our society. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand before you today, as a nation, we are looking forward to the general election on the 29th of May 2024. Given that many have registered political parties and aspire to serve in parliament and legislatures, I believe many will agree that this election will or is arguably the most important and probably the most exciting. I visited Bishop Lekhanyane a few weeks ago, and he has a way of referring to this new phenomenon. He called it a book ballot. He says, you say now there's going to be a book ballot because there are so many parties that have registered to stand for elections, and of course independents. So my son was asking me 2 days ago, so he says, so tell me, independent, do you mean there's one person want to go to parliament alone to represent people? I said, yes, that's a new development. There are those who don't represent parties, they will come alone to represent their constituencies. So it's going to be a very exciting election, maybe a bit complicated with 3 ballot papers. So we must ensure that people understand exactly what to do. Program directors, we are not surprised that there are so many political parties. The party that I have the honor to serve indeed fought the idea that we have a flourishing democracy wherein everyone, without fear, should be allowed to participate in the elections in our country. So the ANC was at the forefront of ensuring that this should happen. I'm confident that we'll have a successful election and that the people of South Africa will continue to place their hopes and aspirations in the organization and movement of their choice. We must give people that choice. And the good thing is that, voting is secret. So I won't know who you are voting for. Some of us, it's really well known. I vote for the ANC. But I think it's important, the most important thing is that there should be free and fair election. And that has been the strength of our democracy, and we must never lose that. As we embark on the election campaign, we urge universities, political parties, labor unions, civil society, faith-based organizations, traditional leaders, student bodies to protect and secure our democracy, not only for the current generation, but also for future generations to come. And it is important for me perhaps to make a call to young people to go and vote. We have seen over the past years that sometimes young people are very reluctant to go and vote. They don't think voting is important. They are preoccupied with other commitments, but they forget that the future belongs to them. You as young people, if you don't vote, you're giving away the control of your future. In fact, somebody was saying recently in one meeting, says, remember, even if you don't vote, you are voting because somebody will vote for you. So the choice that you should make will be made by someone else on your behalf if you don't vote. So I do hope, especially our students, please go out and vote in your big numbers. The future belongs to you. In fact, Professor Mpedi, this slogan of the future belongs to you is the slogan that we adopted in 1983 when I became the first president of the Alexander Youth Congress. You look at our logo, it said unity, action, and it says the future belongs to us. At the time, we're in the heart of apartheid, but we put that bold slogan and we fought hard to ensure that what we meant will be realized. So young people, the youth, please remember the future belongs to you. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand before you, as a people, we must be proud of some of the achievements made over the past 30 years. And I don't have time to mention all of them, but just to mention a few, this includes here in Gauteng, we're able to implement projects like Gautrain, freeway improvement, bus rapid transport, and there are other initiatives in the agricultural sector, financial services, etc. Many projects implemented. Government has been able to build millions of houses throughout the country, ensure that poor people do receive grants, supports students with bursaries and loans through NSFAS. I know that there are universities or colleges where students are saying some of them have not received these bursaries and loans. We are going to make sure that we address that challenge. But it's something that has been done over time, and what we must say to you today is that we are committed to do more, to ensure that we reach everybody. We know for a fact that to grow, we need to invest in infrastructure. Hence, we have projects worth about 21.4 billion rands that have been completed. These projects are part of the infrastructure investment plan of government, which articulate the country's needs for infrastructure-led economic growth and recovery. Further, they include the Welisizwe Rural Bridges Program, which was launched with additional agency following the devastating floods, particularly in KZN, the Eastern Cape and Northwest. Through this project, there are now 58 rural bridges under development around the country, with 11 finished in KwaZulu-Natal already. I would like to see more young people, the youth, but also women-led businesses being involved in this project, because particularly the youth, young people, as I said, are the future of our country. We need to see them involved in these projects that are unfolding. In the early years, as a leader in government, I had the opportunity, as I said earlier, to be involved in many projects in Gauteng. I'm grateful to those who gave us the opportunity to do so, and we want now to give this opportunity to the youth of our country to be at the forefront and lead the implementation of these projects. Just to encourage you, the youth of today, when we conceptualized the Gautrain in Gauteng, and I was appointed MEC for transport, and I went to look at how to improve rapid rail system. At that time, I was 35 years old. So I just want to say to you, don't pull back and say you are young. We're very young. The Gauteng cabinet at the time was composed of young people, myself, Jabu Mleketi, Katani Mahlangu, the late Ignatius Jacobs, and others. We're all in our 30s. And we took a lead to ensure that Gauteng became a construction site. You too can do it. We want to encourage you to do so. Having been afforded this opportunity to serve at an early age, we want to make sure that you have the same opportunity. We must have in us Solomon Mahlangu's spirit of tenacity. However, we are aware of the challenges that the youth face in our country. Hence, over the years, we have been investing in initiatives for the development of our youth. So we are not saying there are no problems. There are challenges, there are problems, but let's work hard to change our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the President has tasked me with accelerating execution and implementation across government, particularly in relation to service delivery. We are determined, therefore, to speed up execution and implementation. Because many people say to us, but the ANC, you have good policies. Implement. And that's why the President said I should go and lead this initiative. So I've met with many of our premiers, and we continue to speed up implementation. One of the things that we are doing is to put South Africa to work through public employment programs that create work opportunities, including for young people. The President has announced what he called the Presidential Employment Stimulus, and there are programs there that are targeting the youth. Secondly, we prepare our industries for an inclusive economy by implementing cross-cutting industrial strategy that drives growth and create opportunities for the youth. Third, to tackle high cost of living by taking steps to make everyday life more affordable for our people, the workers, the unemployed, etc. Fourth, invest in people by meeting all of our basic needs, investing in education, improving health outcome, but also improving service delivery. People have been complaining in some areas, you've got sewer spillages, etc. We are attending to those issues. But we must continue to defend democracy and advance freedom, and lastly, to build a capable and developmental state. Here we are driven by the spirit of Batupele, people first. We have in all what we do to always put people first. And that's how we're going to build a developmental state that is capable. In other words, that with people who have skills. Let's not bring into government people who don't know what to do. But I must say to you this morning that we do have a school of government where we continue to train many of the civil servants to be able to do their work properly. So, Program Director, through these priorities, we will put South Africa back on track to achieve the National Development Plan 2030, which will allow us to eliminate income poverty and reduce inequality. To realize this work, we'll continue to invest in competent leaders, and we'll make sure that many of those that we deploy are competent and are given the necessary training. President Ramaphosa have also recently appointed me to lead a water task team, because we have realized that we're beginning to have a problem of water in many parts of the country. This water task team will meet this evening, and we will start going to all provinces. Premier Lesotho, I will also visit Gauteng to work with you to see where there are challenges of water. How do we ensure that we deal with that? But we will start this week in KZN, particularly at eThekwini. There are various reasons that we notice why we're beginning to have water challenges, and one of them is aging infrastructure. We need to attend to that urgently. And I know in Gauteng, Premier Lesotho has been intervening in some of these areas, particularly when there's load shedding. Some of the pump stations don't work, and therefore they need generators. And I know Gauteng has been providing those generators. So this is a task that we regard as urgent, and we're going to work hard so that we don't reach another crisis. We've had load shedding. We don't want water crisis. We must deal with it immediately. The Department of Water and Sanitation has already allocated 10.1 billion rand to municipalities for what we call regional bulk infrastructure grant, and another 4.6 billion rand for water services infrastructure grant. So these resources will be used to assist us in attending to this work so that we don't get to a water crisis. Some people were saying we are already in the water crisis. And I said, no, we're not yet there. Let's work fast not to get there so that people have water. As I conclude, Program Director, we will continue to work for peace on the continent and the rest of the world. We will continue to work together with sister people of South Sudan, the DRC, the Sahel, and Horn of Africa in their noble cause for peace. You will recall that the president was 2 days ago in Rwanda, where they were celebrating or commemorating 30 years of the genocide, but took an opportunity to discuss with President Kagame about some of the challenges in that region, particularly the DRC. The president has also appointed me as his convoy to deal with the conflict in South Sudan and also to assist in the DRC, and he's going to continue also to lead efforts in Ukraine, conflict between Ukraine and Russia. So as the African National Congress and as government, we will always stand for peace. We will support peace initiatives all over the world, including supporting peace in Palestine, particularly to ensure peace for the people of Gaza. Our message for global peace will never change. We'll continue to condemn any form of genocide. I conclude the program director by urging all of us to remain inspired by the words of Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu when he said to his mother, "Tell my people that I love them and they must continue to fight." Close quote. We must continue to carry these words as a nation beyond the 30 years of freedom and democracy, towards the 100 years of the Freedom Charter in 2025, wherein we would have achieved a South Africa that belongs to all who live in it, black and white. We must continue to fight poverty. We must continue to fight inequality. We must continue to fight that our people have employment. We must continue to fight that our people have water, have electricity, and they get a better life. Tell my people that I love them and they must continue to fight. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as promised, as delivered. Thank you, Mr. Deputy President Paul Mashatile, for a fantastic speech. There is a saying in my culture that when a wise man has spoken, it's a crime to paraphrase his speech, because you end up distorting his message. So I assume all of us have received the message. And there is a time when the Deputy President spoke about the youth taking charge of their future and holding the future in their hands. I didn't hear anybody saying, yeah, but which future? Which means everybody here knows what a future to take in their hands, and perhaps internally committing ourselves to really take the future in our hands and get it done. Deputy President, I was actually excited when you spoke about issues of public policy implementation, and then in my heart, I said, okay, Deputy President, please add monitoring and evaluation because those two go together in order to ensure that what is done is actually recorded, so that there is evidence-based policy implementation, evidence-based policy making. I think that is something we could chew on as we move forward, taking the future in our hands. I was encouraged by your zeal to encourage the nation to contribute to building a developmental and a capable state. That's very important. There is no future without a capable state. There is no capable state if people with knowledge, skills, integrity, willing to work, take a charge, and the youth is at the forefront of that kind of people that the Deputy President was speaking about. He emphasized the issue of Batopiri principle, very important. There is no human right if there is no abiding to the Batopiri principle. People first. That's what the state should be about. And that's where the human rights and all the freedom people talk about. And that's where actually, where it is visible that the government is doing something. Government is doing something when we see it in our daily lives. So, look, I'm not trying to paraphrase the speech of a wise man. I already warned that it is wrong to do that in my culture. But those are the few messages which which caught my attention. Of course, every one of you has learned something, and you are thinking about something and perhaps I think even some questions in which you would like to put to the Deputy President. So at this point, I would like to call Professor Ben Marks to please come and handle the issue of Q&A. And yeah, Ben, where are you?
Thank you, Program Director. Thank you, Honourable Deputy President, for those wise and insightful and impactful address and those wise and telling messages for us. With your permission, we are now moving to the interaction part of this public lecture, and we'll open the floor for questions. But if I can just be so blunt to just kick off with a question for you, and you spoke about this telling message about our youth and future belongs to them, belongs to you, belongs to us. But just something that I'm very passionate about is we've got a brilliant youth, brilliant students, our youth. And sometimes the world call us, the so-called first world call us third world countries. They call us a third world. But in that first world come and poach. And I'm sorry, I'm getting so irritated. They come and poach our best talent and our students and our youth in this country to go to them. And what is your message for us that we can tell those brilliant minds of ours to stay in this country and show the world that we're a first world country? And you did address it, but maybe you just can speak to that directly. Deputy President.
Is my mic on? Oh, yeah. Well, some of the reasons that young people or the youth give for leaving the country is that they don't get opportunities here at home. I recall that when I was in this weekend, I was in the Western Cape, and I visited a place called Philippi. And I met a young woman there who said to me, look, I've graduated, I'm an educator, but I can't get a job. And I saw recently some of them, doctors, were marching and say, we don't have jobs. So what we need to do is to really ensure that these young people with skills do immediately have opportunities when they finish studying, so that we don't have a phenomenon of unemployed graduates. Because it's something else to say, well, don't leave the country, but if they say to us, but I'm not employed, they are going to leave. But I agree with you that we invest a lot in education and skills, and we do so because we want those skills here in the country. We can't invest so much in education and skills and then all our young doctors go to Canada. We want you here. But of course, I'm sure you are going to say to me, yes, but then employers. So the problem comes back to me. We are actually looking at this matter, and I know Minister of Health recently has been making a plan for the doctors and so on. So in short, let me say that, yes, I agree with you. We invest in skills and education. We do so to improve and build our country for our people. But we must make sure that these children don't go loitering in the streets when they've completed their studies.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. So we've got some roaming mics here, and if we can take some questions. I see there's a question there at the back. Thank you very much. If you maybe can just state your name and then your question to the Deputy President.
Hi, thank you. My name is Carlene, and thank you so much, Deputy President. So I'm an ethics lecturer, and I would like to know if you have a message to my students. You mentioned the importance of competent leaders to achieve crucial and the NDP 2030 goals. But do you have a message for the students on the importance of being an ethical leader? That's something we discuss quite a lot in class. And especially with Steinhoff and Steinheist and Marcus Jooste, that is really a message we want to bring across. If you can please give me something to tell my students.
My apology, I missed the first word you said you are teaching.
I'm teaching ethics.
Ethics, okay.
But with Prof. Ben for the auditing students, so it's very important to get ethical auditors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My message to your students is that they must take to heart what they learn, because ethics is a very important strength of leadership. So your students will probably be one of those many good leaders that we are going to have. Because, you can't achieve much without ethical leadership. The reason that we have had problems in our society, in the continent, in the main has been the lack of ethical leadership. So you really have my support, and I think it's an important initiative, and the great University of Johannesburg, this is a very important initiative. I want to see more students really getting an opportunity to get that kind of input. It must cut across all subjects that we are providing. Ethical leadership must be part of it.
Thank you, Deputy President. I'm looking for, there's a question there. Yeah, in the middle.
Thank you for the opportunity for the question. My name is Veli Mtiani. I'm with the SABC News Research. Thank you so much, Deputy President, for the points that you have pointed out. Firstly, I must say that I'm a beneficiary of the NSFAS. I'm where I am today because of the endeavors of government that they have done, coming from a poor background. Now that I'm a professional with 2 degrees going for the 3rd one. But here is a challenge that I have over, if I think about 30 years of democracy, is that the unemployment in South Africa has grown by 295%, moving from 1995 up to 2023. So that's moving from a point of about 2 million unemployed people in 1995, going all the way to 7.9 million people who are unemployed in 2024. We are at a university. The number of graduates who are unemployed, the number of them has doubled in the past 10 years. It's a crisis, Deputy President. That's a question. What needs to be done?
What needs to be done? I'm with you there that this is a big problem. In fact, when I was speaking earlier, I did refer to some programs that the President has initiated around employment stimulus, youth employment service, etc. What we need to do as a country is to ensure that the social compacts work between government and the private sector. There's a lot of money in the private sector as well as in government, but we haven't seen much synergy in implementing projects. there's a lot to do in South Africa. We still have to build more dams, more roads. So if we can invest in infrastructure, we will be able to really bring down levels of unemployment. That's why I commend initiative like Nasispani by Premier Lusufi. I know, Premier, that some people were not taking this seriously. I think there was one of the leaders of another political parties who was saying your Nasispani people are just dirty young people not knowing what they are doing. It's actually a very important intervention. So that when we worry about high levels of unemployment, we must be seen to be doing something. I feel confident going to the future because our economy is beginning to grow once again. Albeit at a very slow pace, but it means we must do a lot to just make it pick up faster. But it is growing, it is in the positive. We just need to make sure that we move faster in implementation. So I tell my colleagues in government, we have enough policies, let's focus on implementation and implement faster. Because if we do so, we will dent unemployment.
Thank you. The Emirate.
Thank you so much, Deputy President. My name is Dumisani Chanchis. Thank you so much, Prof. Mpedi and Prof. Jahed, for the invitation to be here. I think my question is linked to the previous question, Deputy President. Is really, do we need to expand the public employment program in all the spheres of government, in particular supporting service delivery, but also when there's evidence that shows that they are likely to improve your macroeconomic performances, employment or growth and income inequality. It's really, do we need to expand that as a way of employment of last resort, the state? And the issue of, do we need to start targeting employment in some of the macroeconomic policy, thinking about the fiscal policy, but also in particular monetary policy? Do you think that can take us quite further to start targeting employment as well? Thank you.
Well, that's a comment. I agree with you that we should use public employment programs to increase employment in the country, particularly to young people. The last time I spoke about Nasispani, Premier Lesotho, you'll recall that I urged other premiers in other provinces to follow suit, do the same. In the Northwest, they've got a program, Tunsale Roli. I've seen a lot of young people participating. Minister Sihle Zigalala with the extended public works programs then is intended exactly to ensure that we increase public employment programs. But the private sector can generate much needed jobs if it comes to the party. And we as government must create conducive environment for the private sector to be able to come in and not complain and say, look, we can't invest because the environment is not conducive. And one of the issues they raise is red tape. Now, I always tell people about this interesting story, Prof. When I was Treasurer General of the ANC, I visited Rwanda, and I went to engage with them on a number of things that they were doing. I was very impressed because I got to Kigali and I saw this very clean city, and a lot of things that they were doing there. And one of the questions I asked them, I said, okay, when people apply for business licenses, how long do you take to respond? Because the Premier of Gauteng at the time was Comrade Makura, and he had, at some point, he had asked me to deal with the issue of red tape. So when I was there, I asked them, how do you do it? And they said, no, if somebody applies for a license, they want to start a new business, you want to know how long it takes before we respond? I said, yes. How long does it take you? They said, 6 hours. So in 6 hours, somebody will know whether they have a license or not. Not to get a letter that says we acknowledge your application. Because that's what the bureaucracy does. They like that, well, we acknowledge receipt of your letter and you'll never hear from them. So it's the turnaround, cutting red tape as government. And the good thing is that President Ramaphosa has now appointed a team that is working on dealing with problems of red tape to ensure that the private sector come in without complaining that they are not able to do. And there's a lot of money in the private sector. If they come in together with government, good partnership, that social compact will take us a long way to create much needed jobs.
Thank you. There's a question there.
Thank you, Program Director. Deputy President, Premier, our Honorable Premier Lisufi, our Vice Chancellor, Prof. Mpedi, all protocols observed. My name is Rudy Peterson, pardon my voice. I head up government and stakeholder relations here at the UJ, so I am anchor between the university and government here. So thank you, Deputy President, for honoring UJ with this special occasion. And thank you for embracing us as a leader in 4IR, but also as a leader of providing solutions to society. The Vice Chancellor always say that we are heading, our key catchphrase and our key punchline is impact in society. So we're honored to have you here, Deputy President. So I've got two questions and a comment. So the first one is on our Constitution, as well as on policy development and implementation. Indeed, we have the best Constitution in the country, in the world, one of the best, but we are not that good. We have the best Constitution, policy development, we are good, and here UJ, this unit is hosting this talk today. We're good at policy development, but not so good in implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. I would like to get your comment on that one, Deputy President. Then the second one is elections. This is going to be the most robust and contested elections in the history of this country. So my question to you, Deputy President, is, are you satisfied with the preparatory work of the IEC, given that it's the most contested elections and there is the possibility of possible violence, etc., and the acceptance of the elections? Are you satisfied with the preparatory work of the IEC in terms of the elections on May the 29th? I thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, you're quite right. We've got a world-class constitution. Our constitution is admired throughout the world. So no problem there. I think we're quite good. But we also have good policies. When I was appointed as Deputy President, the colleagues that I work with, some from the ANC and so on, had a discussion with me and said, what is going to be your focus when you get to government? My response to them was implementation. That was my response. And I said to them, we have got too many policies. I think we're moving too slow to implement. So one of the guys was there around having this discussion. He says to me, please, you must be Mr. Fix-It. Get there and get things done. And that's what we must agree as South Africans, that let's put a bit of speed in execution. We have got policies, let's move, let's implement them. And so that's what I would say we should do. On the IEC, I'm confident that the IEC is ready. The president had the opportunity to meet with them, and they said, we are ready. The Minister of Finance have given them more resources. So I don't have any worry that they will not be able to manage. The only thing, of course, is that voting will probably take longer than it used to because of 3 ballot papers, and many voters may take long going through the pages looking for the name of a party they want to vote for. So all of you, when you go on the 29th, please be patient. It will take a bit longer because we have to vote 3 times, and going through what I told earlier is a book ballot. So we must be patient. But the IEC has done well over the last 30 years, and there's no reason to doubt them that they are not ready.
Thank you, Deputy President. With your permission, if we can take one last question. I think there's a question here. Gentleman, there has been
Oh, thank you. My name is Tsapo Mungalu. And my question, Deputy President, thank you very much for the speech that you just gave us, which is quite, I think, insightful. What I would like to find out, isn't South African Airways debacle teaching us something? That maybe there is what you're talking about, creating a conducive environment for private sector to thrive, may actually need consideration of privatization. I think Telkom also shown us that privatization must be in the mixture. But I hear mixed messages from government regarding that, and talking only about partnerships and all of that. If the partnerships will lead to majority stake by a private sector entity, isn't that privatization? And why shouldn't we just call it what it is, rather than not embracing the concept if it's going to help in terms of unemployment and the improvement of the economy? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I agree with you that partnership between government and the private sector is the way to go. And I agree with you that we shouldn't spend time debating the word privatization. Our approach as a party, governing party and in government, is that there are sectors where we'd like the state to retain control, particularly what we regard as strategic national assets, etc. But there are other areas where we think the private sector can take a leading role. We are very open to that kind of partnership, because why we had this vigorous debate in the ANC is because people were saying the leadership is selling all state assets. That's not the case. And that's why people hated the word privatization. You guys are privatizing everything. You're taking everything and giving it to the private sector. That's not the case. That's why we then introduce concepts like public-private partnerships, and they take various forms. In fact, I'm convinced that there are some in other sectors, there may be entities that the state does not have to waste its time running them, really. But there are others where you can't avoid to have the state playing a key role, even if it runs that 100%. But in other areas, let's partner. You take 50% as a private sector, we take 50%, or you take 40, we take 60. It's happening all over the world. The partnership of the private sector and government combining their resources make things work and moves us forward. So that's the road that South Africa should follow.
Thank you, Deputy President, for all your wise words and dealing with those questions so directional and insightful and with wisdom. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you've got many more questions, but we unfortunately ran out of time. Deputy President, we can see you're a man of action. You're at the great University of Johannesburg, where we are Action University, and we appreciate your time. I'm handing back to the program director.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you have noticed, I never asked you to give another round of applause to the Deputy President because I was waiting for him to hear what he says because he read the speech. Now, I want you to be satisfied with the responses that he gives to your question. Now it's a time to give him a round of applause. Thank you, Deputy President. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, really. Much appreciated. Now, this is a moment where we would like to give a kind of a gift to the Deputy President. And you have heard the Vice Chancellor, Professor Mpedi, declaring that the gift he's going to give is only a book. So I'm not too sure whether the Deputy President will need to declare that one or just read it and put it at the, in his cupboard. So, Deputy President and Vice Chancellor, this is the time that we hand over the gift to the Deputy President, and it's a book. And then, while we're busy giving a gift to the Deputy President, I would, after the giving of the gift to the Deputy President, we will take a picture. The team that is here. After that, we will take a picture with the staff of the School of Public Management and Governance. And at this moment, I would like the members of the School of Public Management, Governance and Public Policy to be ushered around the corner here while we're busy handing the gifts. So, so there will be two gifts. One gift from the CBE, which will be given by Professor Marx, and the first gift, however, will be the gift given to the Deputy President by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Mpedi. It's a time, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. The bigger one also. Thank you. The bigger one is from the college. I really want to show. They also
Yep.
Thank you.
That's it. So we are going to take a photo, but we believe that the photo will not be complete without the premier of the great Gauteng province. Mr. Sufi Panyaza, please come forward.
Looks like a boys' choir. That's my problem. I didn't know. No, it's fine.
Okay, these are the stuff. Yeah, wait. Good to see you.
Then the media will say, the government is for you.
Say swallows.
Swallows.
And cheese. Thank you so much. Now it's a time for the staff of the SPM GPP.
You can step forward. You done?
No, never. That won't happen.
I mean, needing a picture now.
Organize them nicely. Do you want your bag to appear?
The short ones in front. There's things we can do. There's things we can do. Children to business at lunch or just TH. This is really cool. That's why I say it.
Great one. Deputy say chips.
Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great day. And as Maya Angelou said once, be present in all things and grateful for all things. As we close this session, first I would like to thank everyone for being here. Give yourself a round of applause for being here. Just for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Of course, a special thanks to our guest of honor, the Deputy President, Mr. Paul Mashatile. Your insight and the perspective have surely inspired us. And we're grateful and thank you for that one, for showing us what has been achieved, but also for highlighting the challenges that lie ahead and pointing the finger to the people who must be responsible and take us forward, and those are the youth. Yes. So thank you, everybody. And I would like to extend a word of thanks to the Deputy President entourage. I'm sure Ms. Humile Mashatila is here. Thank you, ma'am, for traveling that far and staying with us for this time. It is a privilege and an honor to have you among us. Mr. Deputy President, in the preparation of this event, we worked with different teams from your office. I have to tell you that you have a fantastic teams, very professional, a little bit more experienced than us, so they taught us many lessons. So I was really very impressed by your team. So I have no doubt that the service people receive wherever you are is also extraordinary. Ladies and gentlemen from the presidency, it was not going to be possible without you, without your support, without you showing us your humanity, your human side. Thank you very much. Among us, we have two ambassadors, which I would like to recognize. His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Republic of Burundi, Mr. Alexis Bukuru. Thank you very much for traveling that far to be with us. And also we have His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Mr. David Hamadzipiri. Thank you. We thought that this will be a South African event. You surprised us by making it an African event. So the Pan-Africanism as the Great University of Johannesburg, that is a high top on our agenda. We do have a number of senior government officials, among them Mr. Panyazari Sufi. Where are you? Yes, he just left a bit. And quite a number of senior officials from the National Planning Commission. Thank you very much for traveling from wherever you were, especially those who came from far, including those who came from Cape Town. You are special, and you made our day special. Of course, we have the UJ governance structure, starting with Professor Mpedi. Professor Mpedi and all your MEC in the executive, and the CBE leadership. This would not have been possible without a great leadership. So thank you so much. We appreciate that. We cannot end today without thanking the media. The media, we cannot be visible without you. I know that there are different radio stations represented here and also TVs. I'm not going to name them. It's just to acknowledge your role in ensuring, in emphasizing what the Deputy President was saying, talking about the 30 years of democracy. There is no 30 years of democracy without a proper functional media. So thank you very much for being present and for making this a national and an international event. Thank you so much, the media. Whoever you are, you know yourself. Thank you. Of course, this would not have been possible without a great team. Teams from the CBE, the UJ side, teams from the police, teams from different security institutions. We are secure here because of the presence of those men and the women in uniform. So I think we should give them a round of applause also. When we were planning this, we helped each other. I would like to recognize my colleague, Dr. Roner Torin. Where are you, Roner? And Wendy? And Jabo. Yes. And whoever else I did not mention, I know that my colleague staff in the SPM GPP were holding the teaching and the learning and the research and all of that when we were busy planning for this event. Thank you, my colleagues from the SPM GPP. You are stars. Thank you very much. As we conclude this day, I would like to make a few announcements. I would like to invite the audience to join the College of Business and Economics to have some refreshment in the foyer. As we walk out, you will find ready-made food and beverage. Please dig in and be happy and enjoy it. It's your day, it's our day, it's everything you find there. We don't want anything to go to waste. Of course, our VIP and the VVIP, you will be led by the ushers to your designated venues. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here, and by the power vested in me by the principal and the vice chancellor of the University of Johannesburg, I declare this session concluded. Thank you.